So let's retouch these images we have here. I did this by the inspo with Benny's Glam. I'll leave a link to Instagram handle in the description down below. Feel free to check it out. It's a very good makeup artist. We have these images. This is how the image look like. We did a couple of them and we are going to retouch this image first. Okay, so first off, what we are going to do is we start off by taking away the blemishes in the image. So what you're going to do, firstly, you create a layer on top of the original layer, then you go and take away your blemishes. So in taking away blemishes, you have various tools that you can use. I have a video on how to take away blemishes. If you've not watched it, I'll leave the link down below so that you can check it out, then watch full tutorial on how to take away blemishes. So first off, we have the healing brush tool. So what we are going to use today is the patch tool. Okay, so with the patch tool, what you're going to do is we take, then we match with the source. We take, then we match with the source. That's how we are going to do it. So you make sure the source here is checked and you have this turned on. All right, so you make your selection, then you drag to the close area that matches your texture. You have to be very careful with the patch tool so that you don't mess with the texture. Okay, all right, so like that. Great. Oops. Okay, so mind you, when you are taking away the blemishes, sometimes some points wouldn't blend. You would have to pass it again to be able to attain what you actually want. And mind you not to mess with the texture. I most times see people patch this way, a very large area, then they move it. No, please, you don't have to do that. You just make sure you go gradually. Yes, select a minimum place, then you patch it accordingly. All right, so this is what we have done so far on this image. So these are before and here's our after. Okay, all right, so we'll go ahead and take away more blemishes from this image. Okay, and do well to zoom out so that you'll be able to see the blemishes on the skin very well. You don't necessarily have to zoom in all the way to be able to see that there is a blemish. Okay, because most of the times when you zoom in too much too, you end up losing the texture and losing how the face is being structured. Okay, all right, so you see this area, for instance, we had a problem with the patch. So what we are going to do is we use our stamp tool, our clone stamp tool. Then what we are going to do is we gradually heal the area by holding Alt and sampling an area close to that side. And mind you, all these hair strands are going to be cleaned. So even cleaning that particular area out of it, we'll still have to come back and clean those hair strands. All right, so let's work on the edges of the hair. So we have this side like that. Great. So this is how it looks. The images looks working on the edges. Okay, so we have these very harsh lights around this area. We can either fix it by cloning in this side, that way, as simple as that. Okay, so still on fixing of the hairline, you make sure you maintain your movements so as to you don't exceed like the boundaries, you don't exceed where you are supposed to go or touch. So I always advise you keep your brush as small as possible to be able to work with tiny areas in order not to mess with the texture or the area, how the area looks like. Of course, when you mess the colors of that particular area using the frequency separation, you'll be able to fix it, but you really want to give yourself that much work. Okay, let's get rid of this particular side. Looks too okay. Let me see. Okay, all right, so we see this sharp cut over here was caused by the lights. You can just patch it in to blend it in. You get, yes, so you patch it in, then you blend it in. So we are going to use the frequency separation to correct that side. Okay, so we have here to the eyeline. Okay, so this side can go like this, then you fill it. Content aware will automatically fill that side for you. You right click, content aware fill. Okay, so with content aware fill tool, I have a video on it on how to use it to get an effective results. Okay, so let's fill this side. Boom. Okay, all right, so let's go to the chest side. Let's take away these blemishes, then fix this thing right here with the fill. There are some areas that you might not be able to patch. That's the areas you will see me use the fill, because when I patch them, maybe I won't get the correct thing that I want. So in that instances, you have to use the fill. Okay, so having done with your cleaning of your blemishes on the image, do well to check the dress as well as I'm doing, because most of the times you might have stains like this on the dress, which you can easily fix it with your patch tool even before you start working on your image. Okay, all right, so when you look at the image before and the after, you see that we've done a very great job on this image. Okay, so next what we are going to do is to clean up the hair strands around and make it look as natural as possible. Most cases, people would advise to use a selection. Maybe you select around the hair with any of the selection tools so that you'll be able to cut out very well. I'm using the pen tool to make the selection around the hair because I want to be able to cut these things off very nicely. Okay. Okay, so I'll make a selection like that. Then make a selection, feather it by 2 pixels. Then on this selection, I'll use my clone stamp tool. You can also press S for the clone stamp tool. Okay, so with everything, the opacity on 100%, the flow on 100%, you come here, then you paint in like that. You sample the background around the area, then you paint in. I made the selection because I don't want the painting to exceed to the hair. I want to maintain that pace as much as possible. Even though I've made the selection, you can see I'm not taking my brush too close to the selection because I don't want it to enter the hair. I want it as natural as possible. Okay, so having cleaned the hair strand for that particular part, okay, let's do for this part very well. Control D to deselect. Having cleaned the hair strand for that part, these areas you can clean them freely because they are not much. So you just sample the area, then you clean them freely like that. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. You see, it entered. Even though I'm able to clean them freely, most of the times you won't be that careful enough to be able to do it. Okay. Okay. Make sure you reduce it like that, and boom, we've been able to do something around the hair. So the hair is the before, is the after, then the before. Okay, so we still have to go ahead and do this cleaning of these hair strands here. Okay, so and doing that, let's use our normal healing, spot healing, to do that on the image. Okay, the spot healing seems to be very slow for me. Okay, so that is it. So you clean all these hair strands one by one, make sure like they are okay, because you can't go ahead straight and just increase your brush and clean like this, you know, you'll mess with the place. You don't do that. So make sure you clean with a smaller brush size, then you clean it gradually, because these are hair strands and they are not that huge that you need a huge brush to sample the area and clean. Okay, so let me fast forward this area so that we can move on, because we have a whole lot to do today. So like I said, areas that you won't be able to use the healing or the patch tool, use your clone stamp tool to fix it, because you might lose textures around that area. Okay, so fixing that area, then this particular side, it's one of the toughest parts. Let's do it. Okay. See, we are trying to fix that area with a common area, and you can see that that place has been touched. Okay, so we just go ahead, paint that side in, then when we are done, reduce the opacity a bit, then I think this looks good. So what is going to happen is, after fixing this area and this area, you realize the place looks more different from, and you can see that the place has been touched. Okay, so what we are going to do is we use our frequency separation to fix all these color changes within the image. Okay, all right. So as natural as possible, we have this as our final work after taking away the blemishes and everything from the image. Okay, all right, you can go ahead to fix this hair, make it correct. We'll do that after we are done with our frequency separation. Then we go to that side.
In our next video, we're going to talk about frequency separation and how you'll be able to achieve a good frequency separation. So stay tuned and don't forget to give me a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel as I bring you more tutorials on RETOUCH.